things. It has been a little bit. School, as usual, has been absolutely insane. Also tried to record a books I've read so far this year, but the audio got corrupted, I think. It's the first time I've had a editing issue with a video I've made. It was crazy and it took me 4 days to edit the video on its own. And for that to happen, I just didn't have it in me to listen to that video the entire time over again and edit it because it had taken me so long. So I scrapped it. Finals have also been crazy. I have one more exam left for this semester and then I'm done. And then I'm taking a summer break. I'm very excited for the break, which means I can also get a lot of reading time in, which I have not had in quite some time because of school. And my mom was sweet enough to send me a book by, I would say, one of my favorite living authors, and it is Enigma by Runix, the queen. She is the queen of writing dark spooky books, whether that be her mafia romance or similar to the Gothicana book that she wrote as well that I read last year. I believe this is kind of in the same scope. It's like a dark gothic romance, different timeline obviously, but I'm really excited and I want to do a reading vlog of it because she is one of my favorite authors and I haven't done a reading vlog in a while. So this will be spoilery because I can't talk about a book and not have spoilers in there. I really struggle with that. And I just wanted to yap about a book, especially about a book from an author that I'm super passionate about because she writes really well. At least I really enjoy her writing and I think she does dark books well. Gothicana was so dark and gritty and spooky and oh, it was so good. And then this coming out is really exciting. It's also gorgeous. This is the back, and then this is the front, so it's really pretty. I think it's called foiling or something, I'm not sure. But then the end pages are absolutely gorgeous. Just looking at that, I didn't even read the synopsis. I'm so excited to read this. I cannot wait. I have been looking forward to this book for months. I'm in her Facebook group and everyone's been so hyped about this release and I am one of those people too. I wasn't expecting to get a physical copy, but my mom was sweet enough to send me one, so I'm really excited about that. The blurb on the inside cover is, "There are secrets she must uncover. There are secrets he must keep." Spooky, spooky. It's basically this girl, Salem Salazar, is attending Mortimer University as a legacy student, and she is trying to figure out the circumstances of her sister's death, or her sister is missing or something along those lines. And then the man, Casimir Vanderwall, is, I believe he's an artist or slash teacher, or maybe he's also a student. I'm not sure, but I'm really excited. It is giving dark spooky vibes, and one thing about me is I love a good dark spooky vibe. I love dark academia. I like what's it called? It's not really horror, but it's the dark school gritty. I don't know the word I'm looking for, but I know the vibes that I'm looking for. So I'm gonna get started on this and take you guys along with me. I did read the prologue last night, but it was a little late when I started reading, so I'm pretty much just gonna start all the way over and we're gonna get to it. Oh, I also have it on my Kindle. I find it really difficult to read hardcovers and I don't want to damage it at all because it is really pretty. And one thing about Runix is she cares about how her books look, right? So in between chapters, she has these beautiful dark gothic, that's the word I was looking for, gothic scenes or depictions, and then some of them have little quotes and stuff. And she did this in Gothicana, and then she also did this in the Predator and Reaper. I think she might have done them throughout all of them, but I specifically remember the Predator there being some too. But she just beautiful, absolutely stunning. And I think that's another thing that draws me to her, is how much she cares about not just the writing and her her book, but the quality of the book and the visual appeal of the book too, because whether you like it or not, like that is somewhat of a significant part of publishing. And this is another one that's been traditionally published. The Darkverse series is not. There's a little tidbit for ya. So yeah, I'm gonna get started, and it'd be dope if you read it along with me, or if you've read this book too and you wanna watch someone yap about it, that's pretty cool too. It's me. It's a new day. Well, the next day. I wanted to update you on my thoughts so far of Enigma by Runix. I am about 20%, I want to say, through it. Yeah, 20% exactly. I'm on chapter 8. So far, I am enjoying it. I am noticing patterns of similar themes or character traits from the Darkverse series by Runix. So if you've read this series, Marana, one of the FMCs in the first 2 books, she has like a really high IQ, and it's the reasoning behind her like repetition for like noticing specific details or stimuli, basically. So like she constantly hones in on like this guy's voice or like this guy's eyes. Salem is similar in the sense, I think her way of orienting herself around the campus, she keeps mentioning certain attributes of it that are similar to like the other attributes that she's already mentioned. So I can see if people are saying it's repetitive, I would say that's probably why. I'm assuming Salem has like a pretty high IQ, and like that's how Runix characterizes people with high IQ in her books, is by like pattern association. I can see that being a little annoying, but since it's Runix, I don't necessarily mind. I'm not that surprised. Salem had an interaction with Kaz. His name is Casimir, and it was like a bonfire scene, and Salem's not really jiving with the bonfire that much. She's just going to be social and like break out of her routine. This guy tries to like coerce her into this dare situation, and it backfires in a hilarious way, and we finally get a POV of Kaz, and he is a really interesting character. It's the only POV we've gotten so far, so I don't really know much about him. He's still very mysterious, which is obviously like the point. But he's an artist and a very like elusive being, I feel like, is a very accurate way to describe him. He likes to stick to the dark corners, is pretty quiet, only speaks when he has to, and he's just kind of imposing with his personality and like what he gives off to people. And there's a lot of speculation about who he is and where he came from and stuff, which is just drama, like water cooler talk. But I'm enjoying it so far. It's dark. It has the vibes that I've been looking for. I am waiting for my sister to catch up. In the meantime, I was tempted to start a Lego because I got a tuxedo cat Lego for Christmas, and I've yet to build it. I've been saving it for last since I have a tuxedo cat, and I didn't know if my cat was gonna like it or not because she can be kind of weird, and I've heard this cat is like a pretty big size, so we'll see how that goes. I might put some clips in here, I might not. Interested to see where the plot's gonna go. Like, what is the plot? Like, what is it gonna be? You know, because it seems like there's like a mystery kind of plot, and I have a feeling I know where it's gonna go because Salem is trying to be a part of like this awards program that got canceled after her sister got ixnayed. So I'm assuming that has something to do with it. The reader, me, a little old me, I'm still in the dark. So that's all I got for the moment. I just need to talk about something, and it does contain spoilers. I think I've mentioned in this video before. And I just want to know who Salem thinks she is, because she's described as this like 5'5", a little curvy, so not like a big person, and she's following some dark and spooky guy around in the woods, and then she has the nerve, the utter audacity to follow him into his studio. There's no way she can like actively defend herself. That she said this guy's like almost 7 feet tall or something. This woman's like a little bit taller than me, and I just don't know who she thinks she is. Like, I get it, she's super inquisitive and like loves to investigate, but like at least bring some pepper spray or something, girlfriend. Like, you're just like walking around out here stalking people, stalking a grown man nonetheless. Like, it doesn't matter if you have chemistry, you're entering his like sacred space. Like, who does she think she is? I'm baffled, bamboozled. Oh, and beyond that, because I grinded last night, okay? I read up until 57%. I'm on part 3 because this book is separated into parts and there's also chapters. She has a meeting with her psychology professor and like notices like a little bowl of trinkets, you know, someone who is in the homicidal business, the murder business. They like to keep trophies typically. And she finds a little bowl of trinkets and notices a necklace that reminds her of her sister. And so she's like, that's weird. It's that situation, but like he knows she knows, and she knows that he knows that she knows. You know what I mean? So there's that whole debacle. And she has the nerve to break into his office, and her friend is able to get her like the passcode into his office, and half the passcode is the date of her sister's murder, and she still goes in there. Who? You could not pay me to go in there. I don't care if it was like my sister's wedding ring. Like, what? She breaks into his office, and you want to know who followed her in there? Spooky giant man dude, okay? Kaz just follows her in there and saves her because she literally set herself up to get found out by her professor. Almost like Scooby-Doo, but if the girl was just like if Velma was really bad at her job. You know what I mean? She tries so hard but gets caught every time. Like, you would think that she would learn that she's better at like plotting and research development versus actual surveying and investigating on scene, because every single time this girl gets caught, and I don't know if it's because she's got loud boots or if she's just tromping her way through things, but my word, this girl cannot be sneaky to save her life. Like, she thinks she's sneaky, but she's not. And all this to say, I'm still enjoying it. I don't want you to think I'm not enjoying it. Plus the romance like picked up a little bit, so that's dope. I'm just really curious about Kaz. I want more development from his side because obviously he's still very mysterious, but the only thing we've learned so far is that he's here on his own mission to like figure out what's up with his brother, and she's trying to figure out like what happened to her sister. So, and like basically the elites like after her because she signed up to be a part of the awards program that people who sign up for it end up dying because her sister was the last participant, and so she tried to get it reinstated so she could set herself up as bait, kind of. So there's that subplot too. Like, there's a lot going on. And I would say the beginning half, because now that I'm like halfway through, the beginning half was really repetitive, trying to set the scene. It's like her talking about the school, the people, to kind of build it up. And now things are starting to happen. I'm curious to see where else it's gonna go. I'm gonna see where my sister and mom are at before I continue reading today, because I doubt that they've gotten as far as me. If anyone has gotten close to me, it'd probably be my sister. Like, you know it's gonna work out for the best, but you know that they're gonna suffer, because if there's one thing about Runix is like she loves to put her characters through the ringer. Every single time her characters get absolutely maimed, tortured, and abused, and then it all works out. So can't wait to see how they get maimed and tortured, because it's inevitable. You will not believe what I'm here to yap about. It's about Enigma. I started the second epilogue last night. Basically, I read most of the book. I couldn't sleep, so I basically just binged it. I could not be stopped. My mom and sister are only around 50% of the way through. I really enjoyed the second half more than the first half of the book. I feel like the first half was a little repetitive in the setting up of the plot and the scenes and like the characters and stuff like that, and then the second half was more plot driven because you're finding out like why she's investigating and what he's up to and things like that. And I did feel like the plot got lost a little bit like the second half for a minute, because it was just so focused on their romance. I mean, this is like a dark romance. It's almost as if Runix struggles writing standalones, pacing standalones, versus her Darkverse series, where things that happen in the first book come to play like throughout the entire series. Long-standing plot, like subplot lines. And it felt like some things were over-edited. The romance was great. It just felt like the plot parts, besides the romance, were lacking a little bit. The ending lacked pizzazz. The conclusion was really underwhelming in my opinion. I love that Salem was able to really find herself and gain confidence by going to school and making friends and like finding Kaz, building a relationship, and through that it enabled her to heal her relationship with her mom, because her family dynamic is pretty rough or tense in the beginning. They didn't have a great relationship because it's only her and her mom left. Tough, but it was really nice to see that she gets her happy ending, and so does Kaz. I would have loved to see more things in his point of view. Like there wasn't enough. Everything that you learned about him in 2 chunks. It's like I would have rather like had more POVs with him. I didn't really feel that attached to him. Like obviously he was a really interesting character. I didn't feel the attachment like I have with her other books. I don't know, I enjoyed it and the vibes were immaculate. I don't know, I think I'm gonna sit a little bit and see how I feel about the rating. I'm not sure when I'm gonna rate it yet. I'm back. I decided to continue reading and make this like a dual 2-book reading vlog, like what I read in a week. And the next book that I'm reading is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. My older sister read this and she said she really liked it, and I started reading it originally maybe like 3 or 4 weeks ago, but I had just finished a book and I just didn't have like the mental headspace to continue reading this. So I read Enigma instead of this one, so I'm coming back to it because it did seem like a really interesting premise. What's interesting though is that it's marketed as like a sci-fi fantasy, and I'm not getting any of that. It reminds me more of a historical fiction, plays on ancient Chinese history, all the dynasties and stuff that happened there. I'm getting bits of that, that's why it's reminding me of like a more historical, but I'm only about 12% in, if I'm not mistaken, and I think I'm on the 2nd chapter. The chapters are pretty long. Yeah, the first chapter was like 30 pages. Doing that, it's basically Rin is this girl. She was adopted by this family because the government forced families to adopt those who were abandoned, like their parents died in the war. So all of these children were being adopted by families, and Rin is a girl who gets adopted by this opium drug dealing family. They hate her, obviously, because they have to pay for this kid's existence when they'd never asked for it. And she is about to be sold into marriage, and she negotiates her way into being able to study for this really hard test in order to get out of the marriage. She takes this test and studies for this test for so long, and she ends up getting like the highest score in her village, to the point where they like think she lied and cheated, but she's trying to get into the military with that test score because that was the only way she could get out of like her under her family's thumb. That's where I'm at the moment. She's made it to the city. It has a really interesting premise, and I like how R.F. Kuang writes. I feel like it's very forward, but I feel like it's very easy to understand the spatial awareness of things in the book, which not all authors can do very well. So I appreciate that. It's very easy to understand. But I figured I'd take you along with me while I read this, because the video was pretty short for Enigma because I read it in like 3 chunks. So I was like, you know what, I'll just read another book and yap about it. And I've heard such good things. I have really high expectations for this book, for the series in general. So I'm gonna take you along with me for the first book. It's been a couple hours. I just have a question. Why does Rin think it's cool to punch people in the face at her new school? This girl literally is standing in line to get registered or whatever for her classes, and the person who gave her a tour is talking some smack, okay? Talking smack real loud. And you wanna know what she does? She punches him in the face for disrespecting her teacher, right? She punches this dude who's like really famous, I guess, or really well renowned in this world. And I don't think it's gonna bode well for her if that's her first encounter. She set herself up to get beat up like this entire time. Like, I hope she doesn't, because, you know, we don't like women getting beat up, but it's just an observation, so we'll see what happens from there. I'm on chapter 3 now. I wanted to give you an update about the Poppy War because I woke up at like 3:30 this morning and I could not go back to sleep until like 5:30, 6 o'clock. So I put a dent in the Poppy War, and all I gotta say is I was talking to my sister about it, and she read this book before me. She didn't tell me about the magic in this book is super interesting. It's not like anything I've read before, but the whole time she's going to battle, right, and she's trying to hone in on her little inner firebird or whatever. Just kept making me think about like, oh, she got that thing in her. It was so hard to take it seriously. I never read a book that's based on Asian history. I'm assuming it's taken from Chinese dynasties and stuff like that. I'm having a great time. It's very different from what I normally read. I would say the writing, the book itself is a lot of political and like war times. Obviously, she's going to like a war college, and based on the reviews that I was seeing, I think people misinterpreted what this book was going to be, and that's what skewed their rating on it. I kind of went into it blind. I did think there was going to be a romance. It's not upsetting that there isn't. Every now and then I'll be reading and the flow will get disrupted, and then it's like really hard to come back into the story. But when I'm in the story, I'm really in it, and like I love how she's able to like use language to build the spatial awareness. Like I feel like I have a movie going on in my head while I'm watching it, and it's so good. Her teacher, who she like, gets a bid from, Professor Zhang, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. This guy's literally like a Yoda. He's literally just like, you need to walk this pig up this mountain and you will get real strong. And she does get really strong. And then he's like, you need to write about the gods. And she becomes super knowledgeable, and don't take these drugs, but I'm going to take these drugs and watch what happens. And you want to know what the hardest thing she had to deal with was? Like the thing that she struggled with the most? Meditating. This girl could not sit still to save her life. And her professor is just like, yo girl, you just gotta clear your mind, just hang out. And she's like, oh, I can't. Like for the life of her, she just can't do it. And it was so funny. This girl was trying hardest to do the most, and her professor didn't want her to do anything. And that's like when she struggled. So as of right now, I am really enjoying it. It's been a really rainy weekend, hence a lot of updates about the book. I think the writing is great. I'm curious to look into the other books in the series because I don't know how this is going to tie up. Also, Snake Eye Lady, can't remember her name. She's like the Empress. I don't like that lady. Little snake eye having woman, okay? Spooky woman that lady is with her creepy eyeballs. So curious to see what's going to come from that. Can't see anything good, especially with someone who has such odd eyeballs. So we don't have any spam or robots. This is going to be the last update for the video that I've been filming for the past week or so. I want to say like 7 to 9 days. I wanted to do a reading with me for a week video. Pardon the puppy. I'm babysitting my mom's puppy while she's at a doctor's appointment. It was one of my most anticipated reads of this year, and also a new author that I'm adding to the Roto because I loved the Poppy War. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I wanted to talk to you about the Poppy War because I finished it not last night but the night before, and it was like 2 a.m. in the morning when I finished it. I didn't want to film, but I really enjoyed the Poppy War. I found it a little too violent for me, and what's really curious is I feel like this book was obviously written geared towards women because the FMC is like the main character is a female, but the book itself was so violent and it was so focused on like war strategy and politics in this world, which aren't things that I feel like most women, at least like not for me, are focused on with books where I get to learn about the characters and then the world building and politics is like a subplot. But I did enjoy it. I think R.F. Kuang is incredibly talented, and I plan on reading the rest of the series. I wanted to take a break in between, I think it's The Dragon Republic is the second book. I want to take a break in between those two because, like I said, the book was incredibly gory and violent. I wasn't expecting to read the things that I read in that book. I had no real inkling of what this book was about. I've just been seeing it for years, and I'm so glad I waited to read it because now I'm more familiar with fantasy books and politic heavy like books like that. One thing I did have an issue with is I don't really see why it's classified as a fantasy, because these people are gaining powers from drug-induced fits and gods possess them. I feel like it's marketed always in the sci-fi fantasy section, and I feel like it's because this book had nowhere else to go, because I wouldn't say it fits in either of those genres if I'm being honest. And it also has like historical elements to it, so it's just really interesting how she was able to play on like so many genres but not really fit into any of their boxes. And I think that's why I enjoyed it, because it was so different. But I did not care for the violence. And my ratings for the books, so for Gothic Kana, I originally rated it 4 stars, but I think I'm going to drop it down to a 3 stars because the more I think about it, the more I just felt like it was severely lacking. I enjoyed the thought of it, premise, but I just feel like it wasn't elaborated on enough. And I would have really enjoyed the mystery being more thought out or more focused on. And then for the Poppy War, I did give it 4 stars because I really enjoyed it. It was a little different, but I did find it to be a bit dense sometimes because of how centered on the politics and like the war and stuff like that. Like it was very heavy on that. So sometimes it was just a bit much to read like the entire 500 pages about war things and like battles and stuff. I had a really great time. I am so glad I added a new author to the Roto. I can't wait to read her other books. I've also seen Babel, so I might give that a shot as well. And then, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I should have another video coming out soon, so keep an eye on that, because my mom and I went to the bookstore, and I didn't film while I was in there because there was literally no one there except me and the employees and my mom. They were just, I feel like they block. You know, anytime there's a person, they're like, oh my god, a person. So it's just a bit much. I will have another video coming out soon, and I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and thanks for watching.